Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about status indicators in SharePoint. Status comes up all the time in SharePoint. Just about anything that you track in SharePoint has at least one status indicator field. Usually there's multiple indicators of status. These are the measurements which help us track different kind of systems that we use in SharePoint. So with status happening all the time, we really need to pay attention to this field. Having just plain text for status is unacceptable. That's boring. We need some kind of visual indication to help us easily understand what's going on. So, what's the best way to format status? There's lots of ways to format status. What matters is that you have an easy and adaptable approach so that you have lots of options for doing this. Today, we're going to look at 5 different approaches to formatting status in SharePoint. So now, let's get SharePoint smart. Okay, I'm in a regular SharePoint list using a modern view, and I've got some test data set up. I've got some columns which are status columns. And in fact, I just use the same type of choices for each so that we can do a comparison. I've got status and then status 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to format those today and use these different approaches to see what that looks like. First of all, let's take a look at what Microsoft gives us out of the box in SharePoint. It's pretty good. I need to go to the column header, column settings, and select format this column. There's 3 main options here, and we'll explore that a little bit. If I just click on the first box without doing anything at all, it shows me an array of colors depending on those different choice values. That's pretty good for just a couple clicks. If I want to fine tune that, I can go in and edit styles. And then I can dive deeper and I have more granular options and more specific control over how that looks. Alternatively, they've got an option for what they call pills, because it's got a pill shape. And we'll go in here and just take a look and see what do I get when I get to those more granular options. I can get to more color background options, or if I click on more styles, I can even go a layer deeper. Now it's letting me have some choice over font size, formatting, background colors. It gives me a small amount of icons to pick from, perhaps not enough. But as I make those changes, I can see what's happening real time in the interface. It's a neat concept. And even controlling the icon color. So if I go into those more advanced settings, I can do more and more things to that. That being said, there are some limits in terms of color options and font family. There's some types of things that might not be there that I'd like. And that's why it's so important that we have multiple choices. So that's a little bit of a taste of what you get out of the box. Pretty good option. We're going to dig a little deeper and see what else can we do. So that's Microsoft out of the box. Okay. Now let's go to a tool which is SharePointDashboards.com. And we're going to look at some templates that are available that are free to use. So just go to SharePointDashboards.com and click on the big green button in the upper right. Once you're there, go to the blue drop-down picker. And the next one we're going to look at is the template for status background color. When I select that option, a preview window shows up to give me a little bit of an idea of what it is that I'm going to be working on. I'm just going to click Stop Preview, and there's some default options in here that give me a little bit of an idea of what I'm going to do. Now, once I'm in here, similar to what we saw with the out-of-the-box options, I can adjust colors. I can adjust the text color, I can adjust the border color, and I can adjust the font size, things like that. And then what I would want to do is provide possibilities for all of my different choice options. For all the examples we're going to do today, I just used these options: not started, in progress, on hold, cancel, and complete. Naturally, these could be any choices, but you do need to pick options for those. And then I can toggle on and off the background using that checkbox. If I scroll down the page a little bit, there's actually a description and explanation of those different settings. Just as an example, we'll go ahead and change the complete option just to see how this works a little bit. I'm going to put delete row, and I'm going to say complete. Let's just change the font family just for the heck of it. So by default, it's inherit, meaning it will match whatever would normally be in the SharePoint environment, but I can change it. Let's just say I want to change it to Courier for some reason. I've switched the font family, and I am going to pick a color. Note that we've got more options than Microsoft gives us out of the box. So I'm going to pick a different color looking green and click Add Row. And so now I have a little bit of a preview of what that would look like. Once I've done all the configuration, I've accounted for all my choice options, I just need to pick this Copy Code button. That goes onto my clipboard. I can return to SharePoint, and we'll go to column 2, format this column, and I need to click on Advanced Mode. I'm going to go outside of Microsoft's options and use my own formatting. I just pasted that in there, click Save, and you can get a preview of what that would look like. Notice it doesn't look too good. Our font's a little bit too big. Courier probably doesn't look too good either. What's great is it's easy to adjust. Okay, so let's tweak that. I will switch to Arial, and let's bring that font size back down again so things aren't looking quite so crazy. And just with a couple of clicks, copy my code again, select all, paste, save, and now we're right on track. Okay, so option 2 is pretty similar to the out-of-the-box options. There were some differences. One is the fact that we have more color options, and also we can choose a different font family. So just a slightly different approach to the out-of-the-box choice that we saw. Okay, now we can go ahead and move on to a third option. We're going to look at what is referred to as priority bubbles. So I'm going to return back to my SharePoint Dashboards.com tool, and I just need to switch my template, and I'm going to go to priority bubbles. It gives me a preview. This concept that's shown here, this is a idea of a flag where a priority would go up and down between 1 and 3. But this could be any kind of choice options. Okay, so what I need to do, I'll stop that preview. I'm going to switch it to the options that I'm using. Let's go ahead and delete the rows. Click, 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 and then now I'm ready to put in my own values. All right, so we're just using the same standard values. Say not started, and I'm picking from some Microsoft colors here. Let's do light gray for that. Add row. And then next one is going to be in progress, and I will pick a green for that option. Do a pale green. Add row. Okay, and then next one is canceled. Let's do a light pink for that. Okay, add row. Then I'm going to do on hold. And let's do an orange color for that. Add row. And then I'm going to do complete. That's the last one that I need to put in. And let's do another green option for that, but a different looking color. Okay, add row. And it's giving me a preview. I can change the size of that bubble, if you will. It just kind of depends how attention getting. Notice this is a very simple option. None of these text values are going to show up. It's just going to basically show like a flag in our system. I can even manually type that size. That's telling it it'll be 25 pixel. That's all that I need to do. Once that's set, I just click the copy code button and I'll hop back over to SharePoint and we're going to stick that in column 3. I want to go to advanced mode, select all, paste, and save. Okay, so this concept would be good in a system where everybody's already familiar with some basic statuses, especially where there's very few choices. Generally, people understand the concept of green meaning go, red meaning stop, things of that nature. So again, it's just an alternative option that you could use for a different look and feel, a different concept. Okay, so that's the third option. And then the next option is going to be fabric icons. Okay, so we already saw one of the icons in the out of the box option. It's pretty small. You can just barely tell what that is. It's a little exclamation point and a triangle. Okay, so let's go back over to the SharePoint Dashboards.com tool, and we're going to pick the Fabric Icons option. There's a preview window, gives us an idea of what it is that we're going to be doing. And I'm going to stop the preview. Now, one thing that's distinctly different here is I have a lot more choices. If I click on Find Icon, it will take me over to a Fabric Icon tool where there are hundreds and hundreds of choices of what I might pick for here. So I can come in here, I can do a search. There's something. I just right click on that, copy friendly name, and I'm going to use that back over my tool. Once again, I'm just going to change the complete option to something different. Okay, so I'll delete that last row and I'm just going to type in complete and we'll do lime green. That's fine. And I just paste in that icon name and it will show me confirming that I have it correct. I have a little check mark. That's what I picked. I'm going to click add row and it gives me a little preview. Now there's my preview. It gives me a general idea of what this is going to look like in SharePoint. Once again, I've got some different options. So I could change that. Maybe I want a dark foreground color. Okay, I switched it to black. I've got a border around it too. Maybe I'm also going to make that black. And maybe I want a little bigger. Go with 18 pixel. Let's go for Arial again for the font. And I like that pretty well at this point. Let's go ahead and copy that code. We'll come back over to SharePoint and we'll go to our fourth column. Once again, column settings, format this column, advanced, select all, paste, save. There are my options. Now, what you're going to do is some adjustment. You go back and forth. And that's the really great thing about this. Usually what's going to happen, you're going to notice something right away that maybe you want to adjust or you don't like. For me, I don't like that the red is so loud. I want something a little bit more muted. So maybe I want to tweak those colors. And it's really not too hard for me to do that. I could come back in here and adjust those colors by just going into this tool and adjusting the colors over there. Okay, so those quick adjustments are a big part of this. All right, so there's a fourth approach that you can use. Now let's look at doing our own kinds of icons. So we're going to go back to SharePointDashboards.com, and we're going to look at yet another template option, which is custom icons. There's our preview. Gives you an idea of what it is that we're going to be doing here. Now in this case, we're not using the Microsoft icons. It's nice to have those options, but maybe we just want to load our own icon image. And that's what we can do using this approach. Okay, so once again, we're just going to make a minor swap to illustrate the concept. There's my preview window, and we'll remove the complete value and replace it with something different. So I'm going to do something different for complete. Let's delete that row. And I just type in the value that I'm mapping the icon to. And I've got lots of choices here. Notice there's different sizes too. The first set is for larger icons, then we kind of have a medium and then a smaller icon set. So I don't want those. It shows up in the window once you pick something. Okay, let's look for something a little different. There's a smiley face. Just kind of browsing the options here. And you'll get familiar with these if you're browsing through these set. There we go. Let's do the checkbox option. Once I've picked the icon that I like, I just click Add Row, and it's going to map that icon for me. And let's go ahead and bump up our font size a little bit, and let's adjust the border color on the going around the outside of it. If you wanted to, you can toggle that on and off. Generally, I like what's going on here, so I'm going to copy that once again, go back over to SharePoint. I'm going to my 5th column, format this column, and advanced, select all, paste, save. Now I'm using my own icons. What you can do is actually load in your own icon, and it's not limited to a particular size. Maybe you want to use a large size. One key thing about that I want to describe, you do need to download the icon set from this tool. It's free. If you click on the link in the notes and go to Custom Icons Help, it will give you a download link, give you a zip directory, and what you do is load that into the Site Assets directory on your local SharePoint site. Very simple to do, and that's how you get access to all these icons that you see in this tool. Alternatively, you can use your own icon. If you check the box there, it gives you some instructions and it tells you what to do. It says you need to load the icons to your local Site Assets, Icons, My Icons directory. So the first thing is to load the icon set from this tool, and then there's a directory in there called My Icons. And so you can use anything that you want to. So it's really great to have that flexibility. Okay, so there are some distinctly different ways to do status icons. Naturally, you would not do this all on one page. This page looks really crazy right now. We're just sandboxing. We're trying some different options just to have an idea of what possibilities there are in terms of doing status formatting. Okay, so now we've covered our 5 options. So I hope you found that interesting. I think sometimes we're just not aware of some of the options that are available, different things we can do to make our SharePoint lists and tools look eye-catching and appealing to users. There isn't one right way to do status formatting. You've got a lot of options. What is important is that you do some experimentation, you try different approaches to see what's going to work well, and also to find out what other users like. And that way you can adapt your approach, and over time you can find some better ways to visually indicate the status of different options in SharePoint. Another thing that's important is you can combine these. A lot of times you have more than one status for what you're working on, and you have more than one status in the list. So lots of different possibilities in terms of what you can do. I hope you found that interesting. So go ahead and head over to the SharePointDashboards.com site. You can try those templates. There's a lot of other great templates as well. Hope you found that interesting, and we'll see you in the next video.